This is my trade review on my trade today, December 12th. I came back to the charts right at about 10 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, um, and I noticed it was breaking out. So this wasn't exactly a protected high because it didn't lead to, breaking a low, protected low. So it wasn't exactly a protected high, but it also broke this one here, which did lead to this low here. That was, it it kind of like broke the flip right here. So it made a protected low here, right? And then we flipped again. First flip here, and we were just pushing up bullish from there again. Okay, so it was kind of a continuation play. It wasn't an origin flip trade what I did here. That would have been somewhere, in here if you got this zone. Look at the 30 tap here after it closed above with these two candles at least. I don't know about this big one, but looks like just ticked over. But right there, origin of the move, lower. But here's 10 a.m. and we already got the bullish flip here, but it broke a structural high here too. Kind of like, it didn't like this wasn't exactly a low, a structural low, because it didn't close below, the previous protected low, but like in like the swings, this really does look like a high that, it was the high of this SND before it broke lower. So because of that, it's still an important high, right? Even though it's not a protected high, it's still an important high from this SND. And so we violated this SND, and I was like, okay, we violated this SND. That gives us reason to be even more bullish, right? So dragging this across a little bit, we had my trade was right here on this 1 minute candle. On the 5 second right here, it was this red little eclipse. That's what it's called, the eclipse circle. And so there was a couple things I also noted right when I got back at this. I got back at the screen. I saw this huge bullish candle. I'm like, oh man, something could definitely happen with a retracement. And I missed the first tap of the 50 because, like, I mean, this was a bearish SND. So since we broke it, it's not exactly a zone we look to take longs off of, because I don't really hear about Dave talking about inversion zone-like flips where like a previous bearish zone, if you break it, oh, now it's a bullish zone, that flip. I don't hear him saying that, but I mean, I see it happen over and over and over, and this pretty much, I mean, look at that. I definitely respect it. Anyways, taking this swing or fractal, we can see price was coming near this percentage. I saw that as well. So I'm going to make this a green or an orange one, and I'll make the SND responsible green, the Dave Rave green. Okay, so just so you can see it better, let's get rid of this SND. With breaking through SND responsible, this is the downswing. We had the multiple confluence levels. So on this retracement, I wasn't fully waiting for the 50% because like of how strong the trend was. So I was pretty confident. Like there was so many times here it kind of broke out of the previous swing and it didn't fully come back to the 50%. It was a strong trend, so I had decent confidence, especially with, the small risk you can get with a low pattern. And that's all the top traders do. I mean, they don't have too much more conflict. I mean, it's good, obviously, to aim for the 50%, and that's what people should start. But I'm just testing things out, really. And this is just obviously not financial advice. And I'm just starting off, with a low contract size. So take this with what you will. But this is how I read something. And you could have got multiple trades here. So looking on the 5 second, the structure that I kind of saw is right here. It didn't quite tap it yet, but what I was seeing is kind of smaller, just tapping this and then looking for like the top of the zone and looking for it, because I have noticed a lot of the times that's what it does. And I noticed that in video 9, Dave said a lot of the time it'll just touch the top and then go back up. And he was like, oh, that's a good place to take profit. And I'm like, well, it could be the same. It's the same with how you could take trades, a bullish flip buy, and then exit the trade on a bearish flip. It's kind of the same idea, right? It's an opposite signal. So I kind of got in a bit early with a stop loss 5 points on my ATM is what it was set at. I was aiming for these highs at 5 points, and then I saw it ranging here. So I actually, when I saw it double top here, I put my take profit right here, and it got closed there for like just under 3.7 or just at 3.7 points. So you may know I like to use Renkos just to refine things. You get, minimal drawdown a lot of the time, but obviously this time, seeing my execution, I got the same amount of drawdown that I made, but with knowing the S&D there and all of the multiple level of confluence here, it doesn't show these global drawings because this is a micro, only one micro, just for my PA account. Like it was 3 points to that. Like you can see here on the crosshair duplicate, it's right on that 30% of the S&D responsible. So that could have been honestly a good entry too, is just taking a rejection of that. You can do that, but let's say, I didn't, this was kind of not the greatest entry, a little aggressive, but what I did see on the Renkos is this wick here. This is basically what the price swings that price is doing. And so it broke out here, came back in, and I got a little late, like right when it comes to 50%, like what I do technically, I could have entered here too, this reverse bar, but I was a bit late and it just came. That's where I got in. I saw it make this higher low too. It dipped down here. Because what it, when it was down here, I have my buy limit order on what the Renko threshold is. So with Renkos, right, the next bar, look, it's a step of 2 ticks. So I know, where price is currently at, and you get the threshold like right here. I'm like, okay, buy stop limit at that one. Usually it just ticked to it, but it'll come with time. Like right here, look, that's actually a potential entry almost right now. I'm not going to take it because I don't actually know. That actually looks not bad. Let's do a live trade and see how it goes. Just put me in on demo account. Let's go back to here. Okay. Who knows if we'll get put in? Oh, looks like we're put in. So with the trades after, you could see that we kind of broke this right here and we came into the zone, double bottomed. So honestly, like little taps into the zone, all entries. That one just like 5 points, came back down. That one ran over 10 points. If you really took this one, 3.75 drawdown. But look again, look at the nice flip here. So all of these are good to take. Like you just match the Renko pattern, obviously with 1 minute zones. That's all I'm doing. And I like the Renko pattern just because I see it faster. Now if we want to compare this off global, if we want to compare 5-second, we can see with this high here, right? On the 5 seconds, it's not exactly a high because like when we saw this candle pushing up here, the protected low and then the high of that candle, it's like you don't exactly see this high even though it clearly, came down. You can't even see actually because this could have opened and then kept going up and then pushed up, down, up. Like it could have done stuff where there was no high on this run down to use, right? That's what, like, I literally can't even see that with the 5 second. I don't know if you're following, but this candle could go down. Okay, this 5 second candle closes, opens up here, and doesn't tick above because we don't know that this ticked above first. But with the Renkos, you can see how this little notch here, that was within that 5 second candle, so we know it did. Then it pushed down here, right? You can see this low here on the crosshair on the Renko on the left is in line with this 5 second low. So we can see that it did push up. So that is a valid high because what is the pattern? This is technically a protected high. Go up. This is our first buy. Came lower into the zone, right? Long, 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 long. All of these pretty much you could, I mean, you don't want a long lower actually, unless you know confluence of like the levels, but just strictly going off the pattern. It's good to wait so you can see, oh, it made a new low. Okay, so we have a new fresh, a couple new fresh highs we can use to make a zone from if we break above it. So if we take those, oh, we came into here. You could long out of that, or like it can get confusing. You're like, okay, at what point do I just take a rejection off of a line? Like here, it touched these two lines. You could just enter off the rejection without actually waiting for like a micro pattern here, right? But that's not exactly what we want to see at least a pattern here and then on the pullback a tap. But like on the pullback and tap, sometimes it is also good to wait for a whole pattern to develop, like right here. Because let's say, this did come down and just give us one reversal bar and then kept going like right here. Let's say we had this swing high, broke it here, right? So now we're looking to sell into this zone. We got a reversal bar in the zone. Oh, sell. And then it just reverses hard on this. Now, I'm not saying we'd sell here. Obviously, we're in a buy program. You don't want to sell low here in this range, right? Overall here, look to sell or buy down. We want to buy low, sell high. So that wouldn't have been a sell. I'm just saying, sometimes you get that reverse bar and then it'll go against you. So sometimes it's good to wait. Oh, you can see the low here. So instead of just buying right there, right, wait for it to break that, come back, the same pattern over and over and over. But because you can see it on such a micro level, you can wait for that. Like if we waited here, cleanly happened here. And looking at this pattern on the 5 second, I mean, you can see it, but it's not like a fractal high. The fractal high would be up here. So all of this we've been waiting, 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 waiting. Oh, we finally broke it. But then you're like, wait, but that low doesn't even look like a protected low because it didn't break the previous fractal. So now you're all like going backtracking, and you can just trade strictly such a right side environment with this. Like if you know you're in a buy program, like overall you're low in the range or overall bullish with the 1 minute and whatnot, you could almost take any one of these little flips in that direction at a decent enough retracement. Like these are just flip entries, or because we broke out of this high, now we kind of have this last manipulation swing down. Okay, we broke out here, swing down. Well, now we got a new. We don't even have to know about all this stuff to the left, all of that, because right here we simply got an on trend. We got the manipulation leg, we got a big breakout, pull back like this. You can see that on the 1 minute probably. So this swing down, yeah, it's not clean because we didn't close below here, but we got this swing down. We broke above it here, pulled back into the zone for longs out. Just so happened we just barely tapped the 30% of, like, it is the same tick, but I think, no, it's a tick off. But there's so many entries, like, what do we have? Breakout above these highs. And this is kind of the S&D responsible. And then we get all of these bottoms here. And then again, you can take the rejections, or this is a valid swing because it broke the low here. Broke this low. And then broke the high. Comes back into the zone reversal bar. So going by a little pattern, there's a buy there with a pattern. Let's see, did we tap 30%? Not quite there. And you just keep going like that. Like, here's something, a little fractal here. This is end of the day. This fractal was popping up and we mitigated the top of it. 30% was about here, mitigated it. And sometimes it'll come back, maybe mitigate that way later. Maybe not. Price just kept pushing up like crazy. Anyways, that was kind of that trade, subsequent trades, and I'll go move on to the next one. Quick update before that. Here's that little trade we did. I mean, you could have got a point and a half with no drawdown. You know, you're pushing up into this. S&D responsible for breaking this low. Tick to it, rejected. See what happens. Okay, review for this trade. I took this trade on Monday, and how much did we make? No, just under 10 points. So it was a decent trade, kind of what I did. I don't know, I did a lot right. I kind of did what I heard, just try it out vid 9. You know, it's kind of a psychological thing where I know I probably could have held longer, but I just, you know, wanted to secure profits and I'm on one contract, so I'm limited, but decent enough execution here. You can see we were in this fractal, hit the 50% with a double top. Clearly we're breaking above this protected low here. Look at that, 50% of this fractal. You know, you could consider the S&D, whatever you want, and this swing low, right? Because this closed above here, so that made this a protected high. This is the lowest point between closing higher than here. I mean, this one closed higher, so you could almost take this instead, but didn't touch 50, so I'll just keep it on there. And I like the low, kind of the lower low. The most recent one broke because the lowest point it broke here before these retracements, and there wasn't a low there that it broke. I wouldn't use that. That's not a significant low at all, right? Because that's not a confirmation. I mean, yeah, no. We need to close above here, confirm that low. Anyways, we hit this, and there was also more micro S&D kind of here. This last push up before price broke down from this point to close below the protected low. Where was it again? Here again. Didn't close below it until lower, but those were some confluences. And we had obviously more confluences on here. So the 5-second chart, what we've got is price like wicking below. It didn't exactly close below, but with all the, all the confluences that we have here on the higher time frame, I'm almost more okay taking these less clear setups on the 5-second, especially with the double top. I think it's pretty good. I mean, you could almost consider this a protected low too. Lowest point between this highest confirmed close above. It's kind of tough to call. I just see the pattern pretty clear. And I mean, price did the pattern, so I'm gonna execute what it's showing me. I'm again experimenting with aggressive or safer entries or yada yada. I think just the most important thing is just managing your trade right, like never letting a trade like this turn into a 10-point loss. Like why? No, the max you'd ever lose is literally like around 3 points with these 5-second trade. Like honestly, 5 points should be 3 to 5, max 5 should be what you lose. So you can easily target, right? Like over 5 points. So easily over 1-to-1 R with a high win rate. And it's kind of tough. So you got this zone, crazy wicked up to it, crazy wicked up to it here and down. And so I don't know. I hear like some people would wait for a rejection candle and they'd get in here, and that's like 2 points, and you're getting in low out of this relative. Like if you call this a range, right? You kind of want to again buy the premium and sell it, or no, buy the discount, sell it premium. Sorry, it's getting late. And with this, not that late, but hey, I've been working since 6 a.m. on trading. Put it in the hours, and we get up to 50%. Weird rejection here. We came up again. We got these nice close bars. I mean, that's decently clear on the 5-second that, we got this strong full trend sell bar. I can see people selling there, but it's like my problem with candlesticks is at that moment you have to be like, okay, if it's a nice bearish bar, then I'll sell. And what if it ticks up? Like, what if you see this and you're like, oh, like it ticked up right at the end, right when you're about to sell, and you're like, oh, it's kind of like not a fully clean bear bar now, like this one is. So you hesitate because you don't. It's discretionary at that second, and even if you are, able to be like, okay, let's put it in, you put your order in after it's already formed, so it could easily leave you. This time, it ticked up, but who knows if it ticked up and went down in literally a microsecond. So who knows if you could have got your order in time. Whereas, again, with Renko's, trade's not doing great, so look at like micro shifted down. So right when it did this reverse bar, that would have been a good time to close that one out, but random analysis, I don't even know what's going on in Asia. There was a good trade down here, actually. I remember that. There was this fractal here, unmitigated fractal. We didn't quite touch a 50. Asia opened, hit the 50, gave us our pattern. Buy one tick of drawdown, and that sucker. Do you want a 1-tick drawdown with 2-point stop loss? Like 1 to 10, like 1 to 10 are nice. 1 to 11 are. Anyways, this trade right here we got, of course, what the heck? the reversal bar. Gotta navigate this thing better. So you can't even really see it. Oh, gotta love global drawing. With, you know, with what we see, control it. There we go. You can even see, you could have sold right here because there was a clean flip way up here at the confluence 50. That's like ideal. This is like an ideal entry, in my opinion, because it's just such a tight stop loss. Crazy confluence, double overlap at the 50% at the same spot. That's like, this is the stuff where dreams are made. Dreams are made. If you got 1 point stop loss and you know you could take runners 15, 20 points. Anyways, what I took is, I gotta go back to my PA. I took it here on the reversal bar. I hesitated for a microsecond and then I saw the possible double top forming, micro double top forming in my zone with this clean shift here coming back in. So I pulled the trigger. You know, you just take a trade, take a sell. And so again, I targeted kind of the level, these levels here, right here, this tick that I had. So, because I saw it broke out, like where it broke out, the highest point was this tick. Came down, so like Dave says, a lot of the time, instead of coming way back into your zone, in this case it did come back a decent amount, but let's just say it came down, shot up, you know, sometimes it'll just come there. He said it targeted on video 9, so that's what I tried out. Could have got a couple more. I honestly should have targeted the S&Ds I had drawn out here, because I had this one drawn out here. I sent a picture in a Discord with just this zone out when it was up here, and then came out, reacted beautifully. So the ping pong profile between here, oh my goodness, beautiful. Like, look at this flip here. Actually, pulled back pretty deep here, but I mean, it's just some crazy ping pong you can get here. Like, look at this clean shift up. Could have. I mean, it's tough when it breaks up, when you're like expecting the retrace not to come so far, but it breaks above and then keeps going. Those are tough. I generally wait them out. And then, oh, it broke this one. It only came to literally the tick. A lot of times it'll come just to the tick, like a break and retest. So that's stuff I gotta test more. But you can almost see it's like a micro. If you, oh, okay. If you didn't like that, right, we got this. So you could sold this back into the zone down there. So that was a sell, and then buy, bang, ping pong back up, and then into my sell, ping pong down, and then, oh, we're back into the zone again. Broke it, came back, only touched the top, kind of left this zone hanging unmitigated. But, oh, unmitigated. Guess what? We hang it, keep it for later, baby. You didn't exactly get a flip here on the candlestick structure, but after all these rejections, just you could almost take that little one there, or a higher low, and then buy this one up, sell it down, buy it up, and then here, it's funny because it's like a microstructure here and here, so it's a fractal. Rejected the fractal here along with, what was this zone? I think I took a 5-second zone. It was like, oh yeah, because this point, price is going down. The lowest point it broke was here. Maybe I think I took here because I was relating it to a 5-second fractal, and that was what I saw on the 5-second chart. Perfectly touched that 50. Another perfect flip up. Like the ping pong is great. And then here's where you don't want to ping pong. This is like nice ping pong when you have a range of like 15 points between the main ping pong profiles. Damn Ninja Trader. See, now I can't control Z. Ninja Trader problems. Anyways, this is when a ping pong profile is too tight because, right, that's what this zone comes from these. So we're coming up into this bearish S&D, but then we have these big ones below from all these action and this flip down here and the S&D fractal here pushing it up here after it reacted from the zone up here, these higher mitigation levels, and then it's just the ping pong back and forth. So it's like, I remember being like, I don't even sell, buy. It's like every single one of these things is like a potential buy, sell, buy, sell. Like it's just at that point it can get, be a bit overwhelmed, but that's where Dave says, trail your highs and lows and know where you're at. So here, right, we're in bullish territory, right, because we flipped up. Here's our protected low. Okay, we closed higher. Keep our protected lows trailing. Closed higher. Did we ever violate the lows? Closed higher. We've never violated the lows, so you could just be bullish. Only take the buys in this case. That's the safe thing. Only take the buys, of course. But it's just insane the amount of opportunity and what you can see with the Renkos. Like, see here on this 1 minute, kind of we broke out above these highs. No, there was a high here in price action, and we closed above it. And this was the S&D responsible for closing above a structural high, even though there was a high here. This still was it still was a high that put in this low, in a sense. So at some point that was a protected high, right? At some time frame, and we have this fractal here, and coming to the right, this first rejection, right? Let's say that's real time. We're still bullish. We still have the protected low here. Dip back into the fractal zone. You get that. Whether you take a little wick here as your structure, break of structure, or you want to take this high because it was your fractal high or whatever you want to call it, you can do both. This is the zone for that one. Almost touches the 50%, zero drawdown over 5 points. Or you could take this micro one, 30% ones faced a bit of drawdown, 50% one. The first 50% tap faced a pointed drawdown. Second 50% tap is the money, guys. I'm telling you. If something double bottoms at the 50%, something's got to be wrong with you to not take that. Why do you think I sit all this day, don't take any of these trades all day? I'm not kidding. I was watching all these trades. This is a previous day. I was watching all these zones. You see all these zones. I was watching all the price action, but I don't take a trade. Why do you think I take this trade? Because it's so freaking clear. It's like fractal, massive shift below this massive. It's basically a 15-minute low. At some point, this was a 15-minute low, right? So we got a shift below. We got the first reaction, very nice. Second reaction, I was like, I gotta be crazy not to take this. If you take the second one at 50%, so it's, again, fractal. You can see it literally was a wick away. Well, a tick away, a wick, a tick. So if you really want to wait for the 50%, it's definitely the better entries. But say you waited, you're like, okay, I want to wait for the safest stuff. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the 50% and the fractal high. Oh, never came until later. And then if you waited for that, that's why, like, if time has passed, I like symmetry and geometry. If time has passed, I'm not looking to just take the reversal bar now. I want to see another little mini pattern here, right? We broke up. Did we get a reversal bar in the zone here? No, it broke below. So we're not looking to buy. Right? We didn't break above here, so none of this was a valid buy, even though it came back into the zone here. Right? You're waiting for the 50% tap, then you're going to buy. Oh, it didn't come here. Okay, I'll wait for it to come into the 50%, but now a bunch of time has passed. Another shift has happened up here. You gotta wait for another mini shift up. It's about the symmetry and the geometry, and like, look at this little guy. Like, why do little things like this work? Because look how like relative it is. It's a tiny pattern, but it happened so quick. It's not like this leg happened way here, this little tap happened way out there or something. It's like when the algo has the nice symmetry and geometry, you know, honestly, that more likely the probability is on your side. Like this would have been ideal if this little consolidation was taken out and it was just like a simple like this. That would have been the best. And then it would have tapped and gone. If this tap would have happened here without that, you can see I just scrunched the chart that way. That would have been ideal because the symmetry respective is like that. The nice symmetry. So you can see if I scrunched it that way, hope you can understand what I mean by symmetry and geometry. It's right here. It's kind of the same thing. Like lowest, lowest, lowest. Okay, we broke this low. We didn't come back in to the 50% or even the 30%. But like the symmetry, man, like it's really nice symmetry. It's got great symmetry. You see what I mean? It's just clean. So I think that's got pretty important things like zero tick drawdown. It's something special. I mean, we got this low. Okay, when is it gonna break this little tiny high? All the way here. Okay, so now we got a zone here. When is it gonna come? Came down to the zone, came up, up. Oh, we broke this. Finally here. You could have bought here. It didn't, you know, it's not the cleanest symmetry. Got some drawdown. Clean symmetry, again, would have been, if this ticked above, that would have been clean symmetry. But it ticked above later and then came down. It's like, that's not clean, you know, with the weird choppiness. It's like, if we go higher, it's almost like if we go higher, we need to come down further to go back up. Whereas if we don't go down very far and the clean symmetry, like we only went 1 point of displacement. Displacement's tricky because displacement is important a lot of time, but combining that with symmetry is powerful, I think. And like, here's some S and D to break this protected low, and look at how price is holding it, and we got another ping pong profile between this S and D that broke up higher. So we're battling these two S and Ds, which one's going to hold out? And since, again, which one do I play? There's two S&Ds holding price that are both responsible for something. Which one's more important? Again, what are we doing? Look at your trail highs and lows. We get the trailed low here. This is what we're in dealing with. Usually you only have one. Like, he says trail your protected highs and lows, but people kind of can misinterpret that and think you have to trail both at the same time. But if you actually kind of understand the concept, there's only really either a protected low or a protected high at once. There's not really both at the same time. And so, for example, I can just show it quick. This is a indicator that the guy made for protected highs and lows, and it's just simply show, like, he's coded it, and you can see there's either lows, the blue, it either trails the lows, or you get the shift and now it starts trailing the highs. Shift back up, oh, it starts trailing the lows. So you kind of have to find out for yourself. Don't use the indicator, but you can kind of use it to help guide you or almost see. It's good for back testing things. I have an alert on right now, so it tells me every time it gets a flip, just for more things. But with the only trailing highs and lows, that's where we're in. We're in buy program, so just look to buy off the bullish S&Ds that broke something to the top side. So we break to the top side, come back into the S&D responsible. And a lot of the time, the biggest zone, especially in discount, is the ones you want to be buying. So here, 50% line, this is the S&D. In discount, you think these buys are best? Let's go into the Renko. Again, we have this lowest point here, so none of these are could be valid flips because we have to break this high here. This is the only high we got. And so we broke it here, come down. I mean, sure, you could buy the first one if you really want. But again, remember the symmetry? What kind of freaking symmetry is this for for a flip, you know? That's a whacked symmetry. So I at least want to see the structure flip and then another micro candlestick flip. So that's what we got right here with this entry, this one. Couple ticks of drawdown, but potential profits 8.5 points. And you know, it's pretty easy to target these highs up here. It's crazy the amount of trades, like this zone from here to here. The symmetry, like this is pretty good symmetry, right? Gives you good conviction. That's where a lot of the kind of the discretionary things come from. Like, look again here. How does the symmetry of this flip looks? And look at the resulting drawdown. I mean, the flip was nice originally, but it just had this here. It would have been good if it respected this SNDR, but it dipped below. So that could kind of be like, oh, it's not fully in this mode where it's just going to go yeet yet because it dipped below. It disrespected this SNDR, but it still respected, obviously, the SNDR. It just means we wanted to mitigate lower levels, clearly, because it tapped the 50, tapped the 70, and then went. So if you're if you want to be even more patient, you see it violate it, you wait. You don't take this entry, you wait. You're like, oh, well, sorry. Whereas the next entry, well, the symmetry is decent for you to take this as a buy because it flipped this high. I don't love that though, because it's not exactly a valid high when this isn't, you know, it didn't break the low. But I mean, backtest is stuff like it's gold. Like, look at this little wick. Let's see what happened here. So this is another situation where it's kind of tough to get kind of an entry that you would like. Oh, I messed the zone up. Because it didn't, you know, it didn't have a clean pullback, 50%, yada yada. I mean, here's the most recent high you could think we break. We literally just pulled into it and then rejected. So it's like the symmetry is decent. This is the most aggressive entry you'd take. Like, look, the symmetry is decent. It works. It dipped into the 50 cleanly. Dave says we want to see fast reactions out of zones. And so if you have a fast reaction out of a zone, you combine these higher time frame zones and all that. Like we've got this fractal here too. If you're on a 5-second chart, like I bet you it didn't close. And look at that. It didn't close below the fractal. Didn't close below it, but for some reason this bullish candle opened below it. So that's something you could keep in mind, because these are the three charts I look at: 5-second, 1 minute, and then I use the Renko for entries. A lot of time I'll just look at the 5-second for the structure, and for the entries I'll use the Renko, because look at here, we have a protected low here, we closed below it, pulled back, touched the 30%, but it's like, how do you enter? You can't sell here, sell the next confirmed bearish bar, like it's way too low. But if you look at this on On the Renkos, here's the confirmed break below this low here, which is this low. Confirmed break below, pulls up. Okay, we'll take the next reversal bar. Okay, tap 30% right here. That's literally right here. Take the reversal bar. You could have easily targeted 5 points to the, like, that's why I like Renko bars. Like, what does this look like on the 1 second? I mean, if you want to use a 1 second, be my guest. This is what you're looking at. If you want to see the stars, I don't want to see stars. I get freaking dizzy looking at this. So, where are we at? 1 second. Here we go. It's just whack. Like, how do you know, like, what high here has any sort of importance? Like, it's kind of hard to tell. Whereas the Renkos just clean up and give you wicks that have some importance of certain rejections. Like, look at this little wick. Oh, it's the wick here. Oh, you can see it's a bigger wick here. And then this rejection up here, you can clearly see, obviously, but I don't see the setup. It's just the start, like the weirdness. I mean, I don't know. I've shared why I like the Renkos. Obviously, I think they just help psychologically with the mechanical aspect. I can, this trade. London should open, go skibby bat. Anyways, I don't know. I gotta get going. I've got first place to secure in my soccer game. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Make sure you join AFOP's Discord. My man is giving straight gems for free. It's pretty incredible what he's doing just for free in that Discord. NQ_God on X or Twitter. He's got some great information to learn there, so check it out. And let's get that money, bro. I'll see you at the top because the bottom's too crowded.